Good morning from the North Woods of Michigan's Upper Peninsula. I'm Natasha, and this is Plant-Centered Living. Today I would like to talk with you about a film that I saw this past weekend that really inspired me to think deeper about my plant-centered lifestyle. And that film was Hidden Figures. I wanted to see it when it came out. I just didn't do it. For whatever reason, I haven't taken the time, and a friend invited me over to watch it, and I am so glad that she did. What an incredible film. For those of you who have not seen it, I would highly recommend this movie. It is about African American women and their contribution to the NASA space program. I had absolutely no idea the contributions that these women made to our country and to history. And there were several scenes from that movie that really touched my heart in a very deep way. And anytime that happens to me, I always try to relate that film to my own personal life, or find a way to connect it to a belief that I have. And so there was a scene in the movie where one of the main characters, she was being berated by her boss because she would leave her desk and he couldn't figure out where she went. And he said, what are you doing for those 40 minutes a day that you're not at your desk? And she had to stand in front of a room of all men. There was one other woman in the room, and tell her boss that the reason that she wasn't at her desk was because she had to walk a half mile to the colored restroom because there was not a restroom for her in that building. And that moment for her must have not only been humiliating, but absolutely terrifying. To talk to your boss in a way in which you're not accustomed to talking to him, and have to tell him something so private, and also the fact that you couldn't use a restroom in the same building as everyone else. And that scene just really, I don't know, it had a profound impact on me, and it got me to thinking about things in my own life that may have been difficult. And I couldn't come up with anything that was as strikingly difficult as having to do something like that. However, I do think that there are some similarities, perhaps, to those who are involved in the civil rights movement and those who are involved in plant-centered living, and having anything to do with not wanting to follow the cultural norm of eating animal products. And really, when it comes down to it, there are going to be times, and there have been times in my life, where you are going to be in a situation where you're bringing your own meal, perhaps to a dinner or to some type of function, and you're going to be the only one eating that way. And what that feels like when all eyes are on you, or at least you feel like they are, and when people may be making comments about what you're eating and how uncomfortable that might make you. But it doesn't hold a candle to what that woman in the movie experienced on the level of just how deeply that must have touched her. So when I put that in perspective, it really helps me to realize that it is important what I'm doing for a plant-centered lifestyle. And for her, she was fighting for civil rights. She was fighting for human dignity and the right to simply exist as a human in our society. Well, when we are choosing to live a plant-centered lifestyle, there are a couple of, well, actually, I would say several different things that we're fighting for. And one of those is the right to eat the food that makes us the healthiest. And that's not always the easiest food to find. It's not always the easiest choice to make when there are so many unhealthy choices around us. And then second of all, it's that we are giving a voice to those who are voiceless. And when I say that, it means the animals that we share this planet with, and especially those animals that are raised for food in multiple societies around the world. By choosing not to eat animal products, we are in fact drawing attention to their lives, their suffering, their joys, their happiness, their dignity, and their right to live on this planet just as much as we do, without being eaten by us because we choose to eat them, not because we have to eat them. And then third, that we are fighting for a way of life and a way of eating that is kinder and gentler to the earth. So when I think about the things that by living a plant-centered lifestyle that I'm fighting for and that you're fighting for every time that we pick up our fork to eat or every time that we sit down to a meal, it makes me proud. It makes me proud to be part of a movement that we're going to look back one day in history and say we were part of that. We were part of moving us toward a more just society, a healthier society. And so I just am so grateful that I saw that movie this past weekend, the movie Hidden Figures, because it touched me in a very deep way. I am so incredibly grateful to those women in the film, as well as the men who supported them and the men and women who fought for civil rights and continue to do so. And I would like to think that I myself am one of those people. But just as our society looked back and thinks, how could we possibly ever have done that to people of color? I hope that one day we're going to look back and say, how could we possibly have done that to the animals that we share this planet with? And how could we possibly have eaten in a way that compromised our health and done it for so many years? So folks, when things are hard and it seems like you want to give up, I think what we need to do is keep it in perspective and look around the world at the people fighting for their basic safety, fighting for the right to do normal human activity, and think how lucky we are to be part of a movement that is going to change the course of history. Have a wonderful week. I look forward to talking to you next week. And please, if you need some help on your plant-centered journey, give me a call, 906-235-5430. Visit me online at plantcenteredliving.com. Follow me on Facebook at Plant Centered Living. Whatever you do, get involved in your own way and make that transition to a plant-centered lifestyle. I'm here to help, and so are many people within our community. So get connected, stay connected, and thanks for being part of what we do. Have a great week.